What's going on, everybody? Dylan here with Espresso Outlet, and behind me you see a two-group espresso machine. This is the La Speciale two-group, and I am going to show you how I plumbed it in my house and how you guys at home, or if you guys have a mobile cart setup, are wanting to set something up that's quick and easy. And this is kind of the solution that I came up with, and it works out pretty well. So I'm just gonna go ahead and turn the camera around and show you guys how I have my setup. There was a couple things you had to do to set up the main machine, but that should be in your instruction manual once you receive the actual unit. But it's gonna be a little bit hard. So right here you see this branded line here, and this is for the water line. This is for the drain hose, so all of your gray water or wastewater will come down through here, and then you have your power cord. So mine actually came with it already, or you needed to actually add a plug to it. So I installed the plug and then put a converter in. I do have a 20 amp outlet, but I needed a 20 amp to go into a 15 amp to go into that power cord. So pretty much how I have it set up is I have two 5-gallon buckets, and the 5-gallon bucket, there's one that is a fresh water and there is a gray water. So the way I make my fresh water kind of just depends on whether you have a filtration system. I do not right now, but what I do is I take a gallon of water, mix it with a packet of third wave water, the espresso blend, and then mix each gallon and then funnel it into the 5-gallon bucket. So I usually refill this thing once, and then I completely get rid of it and then get a new one, so that way you're not putting old water or putting new water into an old 5-gallon bucket, just to keep things nice and fresh. But the way I have it set up is the pump goes through the fresh 5 gallons and it runs through this flow jet here. So this pump will actually take the water down through here and into the system. It'll pump the water, force the water into my accumulator. So this is a flow jet. I got this from Cafe Works. So what it does is it goes through the pump, goes through this tube into the accumulator, and the accumulator almost inside is like a balloon-like structure, I guess you can call it. And what it does is it allows the pressure to stay built up, so you have a consistent amount of pressure that goes to the espresso machine. So once it goes through the pump, it travels to the accumulator, and then it travels into the water inlet to the connector here. So I believe this is a 3/8 inch connector. It might be different based on the water inlet that you guys receive. I believe most are standard though. And then that feeds straight into the espresso machine itself. So again, 5-gallon jug, fresh water, pumps into the pump, into the accumulator, into the water inlet, into the machine. And then everything drains from the machine into this empty waste bucket, and then that is how I have mine set up. Now, I just bolted it onto a piece of plywood that I cut down. So if you see, I put little tabs here so that way it doesn't scratch any of the countertops, because some of the screws came through because it is a shallower board. But you can see everything is bolted on, and it's just nice because once the pressure is completely released from my espresso machine, I can completely disconnect this. I am going to actually cut the line probably around here, just so I can put a shut-off valve, so that way I can completely shut the water from the accumulator, and then I can hook up a different machine if I needed to. So this is a nice setup if you have a cart setup, a trailer setup, because if you have a cart or a trailer and you have to park it outside, it's not good for this stuff, the lines and stuff, to be frozen. So what I do is I'll just disconnect it and then bring this inside, and then whenever I have another event, I'll go ahead and install it inside the part of the trailer, just lean it against something or Velcros, and you are good to go. So hopefully this installation helps you. This is how I plumbed in my espresso machine. If you have any questions, you can feel free to ask. I work with Espresso Outlet, and I'd love to answer any of your questions you may have. Thank you so much.